you live ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Monday, February 23rd edition of the program, where we will recap a crazy week in ECU baseball, as obviously we talked a lot about the midweek games last week in our programming, but since then the UNC series has become final and it ends in a tie, 1-1-1 split, something you rarely see in baseball. We'll get into that and a whole lot more. We also will discuss ECU basketball losing on the men's and women's front over the weekend, also maybe some USA hockey winning the gold as well. We'll have our weekly visit with head coach Cliff Godwin in segment 2. Stay tuned for that around 12:15 or so, as we'll get his take on Sunday's tie, the week that was, and a whole lot more with ECU's 12th year head coach. We lead today. We've got Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. He's hanging out with intern Isaiah, who we may call on here shortly for some conversation about yesterday's game. Philip, how you doing, man?
We'll get into segment 4 as to why I'm so great, but I'm doing great, Igo. How about you?
It's hard not to be doing great, man, when Team USA wins the gold for the first time in 46 years, bright and early Sunday morning, American time, as they take down Canada in overtime. Man, what a game. We'll get into that. What a moment for USA, our country, and everything that comes along with it. Always good to beat Canada at their own game as well. So we'll get into that. They won't hear the end of it for quite some time. All right. Speaking, I guess, of America's pastimes, what we'll start with, baseball. Tie, Philip? I mean, I don't know. We'll get into it with Cliff Godwin, and he explains the reason. And, look, they're valid. I mean, it is February 23rd. Yesterday was February 22nd, and there's no need to put the student-athletes at risk. And there's really, I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, you could play on a wet field in 27-degree temperatures, or real feel, as Coach Godwin said. But, like, is it really worth it? I don't know. Probably not this early in the season. And at the end of the day, I do think if ECU was up 3-1 and not losing 3-1, they would have found a way to play the game or suspend it and finish it later. But either way, that's neither here nor there. ECU, I wrote this morning, if you would have told everybody walking out of Clark LeClaire Stadium on Friday night that this was the end result of the series, I think 99.9% of those people would have signed up for it. Because at that time, it looked like ECU was completely outclassed. I even wrote on our message board, like, ECU just looked like it did not belong on the same field as North Carolina on that very evening. It was, as Coach Godwin said, it was an embarrassing performance at home. I believed Cliff Godwin's words after Friday's game, that he said, I'm at my best when I'm doubted. And then he said, our team is at our best when we're doubted. Now, I believed Cliff Godwin because we've seen this before. I just was not sure, is this iteration of the ECU Pirate baseball team, the 2026 version, does this team have enough in it to back up their head coach's words? And they proved him right. They went out Saturday, kicked some tail, obviously got the big swings late in the game, and then Sunday, arguably looked like the better team for those 5 innings. I know it obviously ended tied, but they look like they belong the last 2 days and went toe-to-toe with the top 10 team. So they didn't win the series, Philip, but certainly you feel a lot better about it at the end of the day.
Look, man, you bounced back. You bounced back after your worst loss of the season. You bounced back and you beat a top 10 baseball team. You bounced back and you went 2 days with them toe-to-toe. You got to feel good. Also, look, it proved once again, now we're going to get into this here in a second, but we have a true rotation. I mean, like, we feel good about our Saturday and Sunday guy. We are in a really, really good spot. The hitting will come. I'd be worried at this point in the year, and I was talking about this with somebody on Wednesday. Can't remember who it was. It was like, man, if the hitting was good and the pitching sucked and we were losing games, I'd be worried. But I'd rather the pitching be good and the hitting be so-so and the defense be so-so. That'll get fixed. And we're in a good spot. We're not in the best situation. We could be in a better position. We could have not lost 2 out of 3 to Xavier, but at the end of the day, like, you're in a good spot to accomplish every single goal you set for yourself to accomplish at the beginning of the season. I still think all those are realistic goals.
Yeah, and ECU showed specifically Saturday at its best, it can be a superior college baseball team. You had your best reliever going, Sean Jenkins. You had a really good start from Gavin Van Kempen, and you had your best hitters mostly through up and down the lineup delivering. And let's start with Sean Jenkins, man. First off, we got to know him really well last year. We had him in as part of the NIL deal, and I don't know if we may do that every now and again this spring, but now with the rev share, it's not as necessary. But either way, we were lucky to have him on 4 times, I think, handful of times, get to know him. And he was mature beyond his years, but I'm sure like he felt some pressure. We've talked about it. He was 17. I mean, I can't imagine doing the things he was doing at 17, kind of being thrust out there. And, this year, you can just – you feel it watching him pitch. Like there's no second guessing. There's no intimidation. He's just getting the ball, and he's throwing the crap out of it. And it's nasty stuff. Swing and miss is there. I mean, what a weapon. I know some people have already said, let's move him into rotation. Man, no, I'm leaving him in this role. And ideally – on a weekend, Ethan Norby pitches deep into a Friday night game. Philip, you don't even have to use him maybe. First off, you could use him on a Friday to close a game, but you don't have to use him for these long stints as some of the starters get deeper in the game. So I think you'll get to the point you can maybe use him twice a week, 3 times, twice a weekend, 3 times a week if absolutely necessary. But I love this role for him, and I'm leaving him in it. He looks incredible right now.
Yeah, I think ideally your starter always goes more than six, or should go at least 6, I should say, and then maybe you use him twice. But right now, I think he's taking the pressure off the starters. I think at this point in the situation, you say he is our longest reliever. So if you're a starter and today you've only got 5 innings, cool. He gets 6, 7, and 8. There's no pressure now on a starter to have to finish the 6th, to have to appear in the 7th. Now, one of them needs to each week, but it doesn't have to be the same guy every weekend, right? So now you just have Sean Jenkins fit that. And if, to your point, Steven, you get lucky and it seems like everybody's finishing the 6th, maybe starting the 7th, maybe finishing the 7th, then he becomes your 8th inning setup guy twice a weekend, and, all's well that ends well. I think he is in a situation where you can use him in such a versatile, different ways, and why mess with the starters? I mean, there's nothing broke. Don't fix it. I mean, yeah, Norby hadn't had his stuff the first 2 weeks. Come on, it's Ethan Norby. He's going to be fine. No reason to panic.
No doubt he'll try to bounce back against Rutgers this Friday. Not Northern Illinois, like you hear me say in our Cliff Godwin interview coming up. Misspoke there. But, the thing about Saturday's game that I was most encouraged by, I was talking with a former Pirate player. I saw a ton of people. Let me start off by saying this. Major kudos to Pirate fans, dude. Saturday was an electric environment. And after Friday, you could have had some people that had tickets to the game and just not been into it. Like, they brought the juice, not just once ECU started getting rolling. They brought it early. Obviously, they got the double run sacrifice bunt down, which, kind of got the place going. But kudos ECU fans. I'm always amazed at just how they support this team every year. And I thought that they made a huge impact on Saturday's game. But I was talking to a former player. I won't reveal his identity, but I was talking like pregame, and I was saying, man, I just kind of going back to what Cliff was saying after Friday. I'm like, I believe Cliff, I just want to see this team respond too. And I'm like, I don't know if they got the dogs to respond. And maybe some of these guys can become the, quote unquote dogs. Like, I know Braden Burris is a dog. Like, competitive nature, I want him at the plate with the game on the line. I think we saw another young man turn into maybe that dog-type mentality in Grady Linehan. I mean, what a moment for a freshman. We know he's got the talent, but, like, you still have to have that mindset, that competitive nature to you. And he's going up against UNC's dude, absolute nasty reliever, and gets ahead 2-0. Doesn't swing out of it. He's not up there looking, he's not looking panicked. He's not swinging out of his shoes, works a favorable count. And then he doesn't try to do too much on the 2-0 swing. Obviously, he hits a home run, but, like, it was a short, simple swing, and he just caught the barrel. And, like, that's a moment that we have not seen. Like, the crowd pop after that ball went over the fence was incredible. And I'm like, I haven't I don't remember a crowd pop like that for an ECU baseball game in front of their fans. And it wasn't home, but it was in front of a large contingent, Philip. I'm like, this team just needed that moment. Grady Linehan, obviously early in his career, he can use it, but this team needed something like that to happen in front of their fans. So I just thought that was a huge development for Grady and the team.
Yeah. And sometimes, when you look back at the end of a season, and I have with a lot of successful seasons, both with teams that I support, and other teams as well, you look back to an early season moment and an early season moment that maybe changed the course of the season. And maybe we look back and that Grady Linehan home run is what changes the course of the season for East Carolina moving forward. And, all the great teams kind of have that one moment because the fine line between great and having a history run or historic run and just being pretty good is a really thin line. And sometimes that's what you need to the mind is a powerful thing, and that's what you need to put your mind at ease and give yourself the confidence to go out and do something really special.
Some comments here. I tell you what, Philip, get Isaiah on the mic. I'll get his take on Game 3 as well. Some comments here before we go back and forth with Isaiah. But Cameron says, felt like we were waiting on that home run since 2024. Josh Thomas adding Saturday was fun. Felt like an ECU home game inside Durham Pools Athletic Park. Andrew adding, at this moment, I feel better about Saturdays and Sundays than I do about Fridays, which is crazy to see. But I trust that Norby will come around. All right, we got Isaiah here. Isaiah, you watched Sunday's game. I guess we can call it a game. It went final 3-3 finish. And, we talked about obviously Sean Jenkins, Gavin Van Kempen pitched well Saturday. I was curious how the freshman Colby Weber would look Sunday, another big spot for him. And he looked good. Obviously, the pitching after him with Marley didn't go as planned, but for Colby Weber to step up in that environment in Chapel Hill, cold day, and deliver again, pretty encouraging, right?
Correct. I mean, he's, like you were mentioning, dogs. I mean, he's one of them dogs. He's a freshman, 6'7" from Pittsburgh. I mean, he's out there dialing. He went 5 innings. I can't even say anything what I really want to say, but he went 5 innings. He pitched 78 pitches, and honestly, we win the game. We were up 3-1, and if the rain delay is gone, we win, and we beat Chapel Hill twice. So I think that's a really big thing, and we should look upon that and build on that. That's something that our Pirates can really build on and continue.
Yeah, that was something, like, I even felt watching the game, and who knows how it would have played out, Isaiah, but, like, even after UNC came back, I just, like, watching the body language for ECU, I felt confident, and maybe something would have happened where they would not have won. You never know. It's baseball, but, like, I felt confident that they would have found a way to win that game, and that's why I hate that we got cut short of what probably was going to be a pretty awesome finish to the series after a lopsided game and then a game that got lopsided late. So, like, as a sports fan, I don't know, man. Ending in a tie, it's just it's just like you just shrug your shoulders and you just don't even know how to react.
Yeah, I didn't like that. But the one thing I want to touch on that I really did enjoy was, he comes out there. Weber comes out there to start the inning. He's not getting the calls that I believe he should have got. And he goes out there and he strikes him out, and you see the emotion from the freshman and see how he's battling. And to me, that showed me everything I need to know about him. And we've talked off camera about his performance against Xavier coming in as a freshman pitching, and he was dialing. And again, he showed why he's the guy as a freshman.
No doubt. It's tough not to be impressed by the young Colby Weber. Jack Herring was a foot away from a 3-run homer as well. That's the frustrating thing about baseball. I mean, that ball goes over the fence, Isaiah. It's 5-3. Who knows what would have happened after that? It would have been 3-0 at the time, and then it would have ended 5-3 theoretically. But he's crushing the ball, and I think once we get Austin Irby going a little bit, like the top of the order is going to be really good. So I don't know. And UNC starter was legit too. He was out there pumping 96, 97 with movement.
Yeah, he was.
So, I thought ECU though had a good approach, to put the ball in play against them, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like Philip was saying, our hitting will get better. Our pitching looks pretty good. We're going to continuously get better, and I believe in Coach Cliff Godwin and everything that he's doing. I mean, I believe this year is going to be the year that we take that leap and we have to build on this game, because if we build on this game, I'm telling you, we're going to be in Omaha. That's my belief. So
Isaiah calling it now. I mean, I think this team has the potential if they stay healthy, put it all together. Well, Isaiah, appreciate your thoughts. We'll throw it back to Philip. I'll read a few more comments. We'll get out of here before we get a break and hear from Cliff Godwin himself. Yeah, Ryan adding that zone was so inconsistent all day. I tell you what, man, that strike zone, it opened the game opened like a huge strike zone, and then it just closed. And then it was like one half of the play. So I don't know what the deal was there. It was very inconsistent. And, I just thought it was kind of frustrating to watch. And I give Colby credit because he was throwing strikes that were not being called strikes, and he did not let it rattle him, which at times can get to freshmen. All right, let's get a break in. I know we got a lot more comments. We'll try and circle back to those as well. But I want to hear from Cliff Godwin, our interview earlier today. We'll play that after these commercials on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Alan, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice.
Like all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back into Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game. It's time for our Monday visit with head coach Cliff Godwin. Pirates coming off a 5-game week, 2-2-1 with a tie in there. And Coach, first off, welcome back. We appreciate it as always. And want to start it off. You mentioned after one of the games this week, there's always ebbs and flows to a college baseball season. As we know, you guys went through just about all those this week alone. And what did you kind of learn about your team this week? 5 games, a lot of baseball, a lot of different scenarios. What did you learn about the Pirates this week?
Well, I was thinking, because I felt pretty confidently that would be a question that you would ask. And I think just in college athletics in general, it's different, right? So um, in the best year, which is kind of like this year, you'll probably have 50% returners and then 50% new guys. And not that that's like all portal guys. I mean, we've got freshmen on our team as well. So just learning yourselves. And I think probably the learning curve has been a little bit more rocky for us than we anticipated at the beginning of the season. And, having some injuries that have put people in different situations. Not that that's why we've lost, but it just, we started off on our heels and then we've kind of probably tried too hard at times. As I've mentioned, this is a good group. They have done things the right way pretty much from day one. They're a really close group. They want to win. They want to do things the right way. And so when things aren't going well, it's like you just are in quicksand. You're fighting harder and it's just working against you. But the thing I did learn, or I would say we learned, man, when this team got knocked down pretty good on Friday night and it was embarrassed, that they showed up the next day and, man, they fought their tails off. And if you have ever watched East Carolina baseball, Saturday's game and even Sunday's game, I mean, we pitched, we played great defense. We can put pressure on you multiple different ways offensively, and we're really good. I mean, Carolina's one of the best teams in the country, and we went toe-to-toe with them, for a weekend series. 1-1-1. No, nobody wants to tie to end the series. But at the end of the day, after Friday night, North Carolina knows we're a good team, and all of Pirate Nation should know we're a good team.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday. And I know you touched on it after Sunday's game, but just to kind of refresh it, maybe people who have not seen that interview, just kind of walk us through the scenario. At any point, did you guys feel like y'all were close to waiting it out, or was it just a matter of you just felt like it was best to bang it and go ahead and move on?
Well, there's a lot of factors I go, and so North Carolina's tarp, to start with, like ours. I mean, when you have snow on it stuff, there's some holes and stuff. So even before, we played at 1:00, they pulled the tarp off, man. There was water on the field. There was standing water. The grounds crew did an unbelievable job just on the infield dirt. There was water standing behind the shortstop position after they pulled the tarp. And you're talking about they pulled it probably, I say 11:45 noon. And, Carolina was able to take ground balls. We were able to take ground balls. And the infield played pretty good considering how much water was on the infield. So you have that. Now it's already wet. And it's not going to dry out because it's overcast, it's misty, the whole deal. You guys were there. And then it starts raining. Well, you can't just keep playing because then you're going to lose the field. And we knew that, at 6:00, I mean, Forbes and I had talked multiple times throughout the week about what it looked like later in the day with that cold front coming in. So once it started raining hard, put the tarp back on. It was going to take at least 45 minutes to an hour to get the field ready. And then you're talking about real field temps in 26, 27, 25 degrees. And, we have a conference rule. They have a conference rule that you wouldn't start a game with the real field being below 30. And it's early in the season. You've got guys that are already nicked up. Do you want to risk injuring a player or two on either side to say, hey, East Carolina won the series, North Carolina won the series? We used our head a lot more than we used our competitive spirit, both of us, and we just didn't feel like it was in the best interest of the student athletes to put our teams back out there once, the tarp was put back on the field and it kept raining and we weren't going to be able to pull the tarp till 4:45, 5:00.
Looking back at Saturday's game, Coach, and obviously we'll start with a couple of big-time players, big-time performances. Sean Jenkins, I thought, just he came in after they answered back and really just settled things down and pitched with as much confidence, conviction as we've seen. We know the stuff is there. Just we hit on it last week, his growth, but he just seems like a different guy right now on the mound. Just what are you seeing from the first base batters or first base dugout right now when you watch him pitch?
Yeah, he's extremely confident, extremely competitive. His stuff's really good. We go back to before the season started, a week before. Hey, Sean, look, buddy, I think for this team, probably we're going to need you in the bullpen. And he's like, hell yeah, coach, I love the bullpen. I won't overthink it. I'll just be able to be myself. And you can see he's worked his tail off with Coach Knight, and his stuff's better. He's commanding the ball better. But, man, his mentality's in a really good spot right now. And he's worked his rear end off. Last year, it was a blessing and a curse. We weren't good on the pitching side of things, and we just had to keep running them out there because we were thin. And even when he wasn't pitching well, he still had to go out there. So he went through a lot last year as a 17-year-old. He got 18 in the middle of the spring last year and just had to kind of handle it. And I think that really helped him for his maturity. And then he worked this hard this summer with AK and Coach Thunder, our strength coach, and really, even getting stronger, moving better, all those things. And, man, it's special. And we're super happy to have Sean.
Grady Linehan, obviously the big story offensively on Saturday. A ton of great at-bats around him. But, he gets the key 3-run homer, 3-run triple. And you mentioned after the game Saturday, he's been as intentional as any freshman just about that's entered your program. Was there a point this offseason, this preseason, where you're like, all right, we're going to have to – this guy's too good. We're going to have to play him right away. I mean, he just shows up every day.
And I think you saw that at the end of fall practice. Coach Gotro, Pack, all of our coaches spent a lot of time with him with some mechanical adjustments with his swing. And really, when you do that in the middle of fall practice and you're facing live arms, the results they're not going to happen quickly. Now, Grady's an unbelievable athlete. And I remember the UNC Greensboro fall game, he hit 2 hard ground balls at shortstop, and I won't get into all the mechanical side of things, but like Coach Gotro, and I knew because he hit 2 ground balls that were hit hard and he backspun them to the pull side. We were like, hey, man, he's coming. And then you looked at what he did in the Purple Gold World Series, and, man, you could kind of see this avalanche, in my opinion, coming. And he's just continued to work, and he's gotten so much better in the outfield. I've said this multiple times when he first got here. I'm like, he's definitely a corner outfielder, and he needs work. And then, man, Coach Packard worked with him, and he shows up every day to get better. And you look, well, man, he can really run. Now he's getting better reads and better jumps. Okay, maybe he can play center field. And so, and you can respect a guy that shows up every day and just works his tail off. And he never gets too high, too low to this point. I could see probably the week leading into opening day when you have really good human beings that want to perform at a high level, you could kind of see like, hey, man, I want to do more. I just grabbed him around the cage one day. I said, Grady, you know what I need from you this weekend? He's like, what, coach? I said, I just need you to be yourself, man. Like, you're good's good enough, brother, and just go out there and play. And he has played at a high level and not made the moment too big. So it's been really fun to watch.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday, recapping the week that was for ECU baseball. 8 games in, Coach. You mentioned, learning about your team. Just curious, you and Coach Gotro working together for the first time. I mean, on paper, 2 of the best hitting coaches in college baseball over the last decade plus, and even before that. So, just kind of, what's that dynamic like, learning to work with Coach Goat and learning to in-game adjustments, after-game adjustments, those things, 8 games in, and how will that continue to grow?
Well, after Friday night, I met with Coach Goat and Pack in my hotel room Saturday morning, and I said, we just got to simplify it for them. These guys are trying hard. We're going to simplify it. But Coach Gotro and Pack have as much autonomy as any hitting coach has ever had here. I trust those guys. They're really good at what they do. They're in the cages with the guys. They know what certain things make guys tick and what doesn't. But they communicate with me, but really, to be honest with you, they are steering the ship from what they're doing mechanically and also, from approach standpoint. And, I will, say my 2 cents when I need to, but I'm running the offense from third base, but those guys are really getting the guys ready to play. And then, Coach Palumbo, of course, in our bunt game and our run game, all that thing. It's really a collaborative effort, but I have full trust in Coach Gotro and Coach Pack and what they do with our hitters each and every day.
Coach, 2 games in with Ethan Norby, obviously, I know the first time you mentioned maybe the look wasn't there. Was it just more execution this past weekend? What do you feel like Ethan's just missing on right now?
Well, I think, Norb's number one is fighting himself a little bit on the mound. When I say that is, I thought the look was there. I mean, you could see in the first inning. But if you don't execute pitches in college baseball and you're playing a really good team, then they will make you pay for it. And North Carolina's good. And if he threw it over the middle, they made him pay for it. And it wasn't just a single. Most of the time it was a home run, which then, that makes people feel different. So I have a lot of worries. Ethan Norby's not one. Him and Coach Knight, I've been watching video to make sure he can get the glove side with his fastball, but also just navigating a different world of, hey, now people are like preparing for you. You're like the guy. You are Team USA. I mean, look, people get up for you when you're supposed to be dominant. I always say when you're the Friday night guy or you're the 3-hole hitter or you're the closer, you got to be built differently, which Ethan Norby's built differently. We know that. We've seen him pitch in big games, and he's going to continue to get better. So I don't worry about him. He'll be pitching at his best when we need him most at the end of the season, and that's the most important part.
Matt Lashley returned this week, Coach, the last few games. It looks like he still may not be 100%, but you could still see, the impact he can make, and just really just seemed like he, stepped in, didn't miss a beat. Just how fun was it to watch him get back in, make the type of impact he did offensively and defensively?
Well, I brag a lot in the fall about him to Nick Schnabel because when he walks off the bus, nobody thinks he's a good baseball player. He doesn't look athletic, but, man, he can really do some things on the baseball field that are special. Play good defense, get a bunt down. He's got a short swing, can hit the ball to all fields, and actually has a little bit of sneaky juice in there as well. But I was really impressed with him, and he had been facing a lot of pitching, just not running out of the box when we were doing inter squads. But to go in there, even his first at bat against Boaz, I mean, left on left, and Boaz is really tough on left-handers, and to get a squeeze down. But the rest of it is at bats were super competitive, had a hit yesterday, a line drive. He is not 100%, but he's able to go out there and give us what he can. And it really helps with the infield defense. Not that Parm has done a fine job, but gives us a little bit more offensively right now, and then allows us to be a little bit more flexible with other guys. So in the lineup.
Any update on Boucher, Peltier getting closer to return, Coach, or is it still kind of week to week at this point?
I think AP will be able to hopefully play defense and hit this weekend. Maybe not like full game scenarios, which that'll give us a boost as far as having another option to go as defensive as we want to in the outfield, because AP is one of the best defensive outfielders in the country. Boucher could have pinch hit this weekend. He did take some ground balls on the field. I don't know. I'd say probably 70% on that ankle. Just the opportunity didn't present itself this weekend for him to have a pinch hit opportunity where he didn't really have to run out of the box. But pitching wise, I think he could pitch. I don't know what his velocity would be. As I asked him in the cage yesterday, hey, could you pitch an inning today? He goes, yeah, Coach, I could pitch. He goes, and I want to pitch, but I don't know. I said, well, I don't want to put you in a situation where you can't have your best stuff. But he is he's going to get back, and we're going to have him hopefully by this weekend. But I don't know if he'll be full strength for another couple weeks. It was a bad ankle sprain.
Coach, I wanted to ask also about Brett Antolik made his first appearance in a Pirate uniform, obviously one inning, and going back to the Campbell game. How do you think he looked? How has he come out of that? And just kind of will you guys continue to ramp up with him coming back from his injuries?
Yeah, you'll definitely see him in some capacity on Wednesday. He actually was going to start the next inning in the Carolina game. So right now we want to, when we get him hot, we have to use him. And so when we do that, it normally just lines up better to be in a clean inning, so to speak. So, but hopefully we can get him out there for multiple innings on Wednesday. That's the plan.
The last thing I want to ask you, Coach, through 8 games right now, you guys have stolen 4 bases. I think 4 for 4 on the base pass and then allowed 3. Is that we know the running game, the bunt game, something you guys want to do a lot of. Is that something you anticipate happening more as the season goes along? Is it just kind of a pick your spot still this early in the season?
Well, our goal is to run to be safe, So I think we've done a pretty good job with that, right? So, I mean, if you look at North Carolina, they did a really good job. You control the running game on the mound. Everybody thinks about catchers, but you control the running game on the mound. North Carolina, all their pitchers were 1-2 to 1-3 at the highest. So really, you have to have a bad catcher back there, which North Carolina doesn't have bad catchers back there. So to run on those kind of times. But when it presents itself, we'll take our opportunities. And then, when it's not there, we're not just going to run into outs.
He is head coach Cliff Godwin. Pirates face Charleston in Fayetteville Wednesday, then the Keith LeClaire Classic. Northern Illinois, Troy, and Western Carolina, Troy, and Rutgers coming into town this weekend for the Keith LeClaire Classic. Coach, we appreciate the time as always, man, and we'll do it again next week. We'll see you at the ballpark this week as well.
All right. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. That's Cliff Godwin. We will get a break in. We will be right back on Hoist the Colors.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU Athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Hoist the sail.
Glenn Ward as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearty. Back to Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. Final or third segment here. We got a final segment on the way. We'll try to talk some hockey there. Be a quicker final two segments. Cliff interview ran a little long, which is good. People want to hear from the Pirates head coach. Philip Pilkington back with us. Want to read a few comments here, then we'll talk some hoops. A lot of the comment section popping off, as you would expect, after a fun weekend of sports, ECU baseball. with a 1-1-1 split. Cameron says, honestly think the tie works out better for us. We know what would have happened if the game finished. Or who knows what would have happened if the game finished. I felt pretty confident ECU. Now, it probably would have been Matthew Mateus, the Greenville native, going for Carolina, and we know Brett Antolik would have started after the delay for ECU. You see, would have had some pretty good pitching there. Who knows? I mean, it is baseball, but I just feel like the Pirates were starting to, even having given up those few runs, they were playing confident and getting some good swings off offensively. But Scott Lorbacher said, sadly, the rain took away Matthew Mateus versus ECU for the final time. I do feel like Philip Pilkington back producing. I think these two teams are destined to meet in the postseason now. Like, I just feel like it's 100% going to happen. There's no way this ends in a tie without some sort of postseason meeting. If the baseball gods are real, it's going to happen.
Yeah. So where does it happen? Are we the 2 and we go to Chapel Hill, or little super regional action going on? I'm thinking super regional action. Why not? So
super regional would be pretty epic.
Did you? I saw where somebody asked you the question, and I can't remember if you answered or not. I haven't seen your answer. Do we know how this affects RPI with the tie? Does the game not count, or how does this work?
I did not get official clarification, but I believe Scott Lorbacher said it counts as a half a win and a half a loss, which would, as far as the RPI metrics, which I believe would help you more than the game not being played, because you're playing a top 10 team.
Yeah, and I'm just going to go on a limb here and say we were going to gain more RPI points for a win than we were going to lose for a lot. Heck, we're probably going to gain points for losing. I mean, think how many times we lose points for winning against crap teams. So, yeah, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, heck, I can live with that, I guess.
Yeah, and we know as well that RPI on the road counts for extra as well. So maybe you even get more of a bonus for half a win, or I don't know. It's just so crazy that it came down to that. So Bob Gagnon wanted to know, great Saturday game environment. Any update on the possible injury with Jackson DiLorenzo? Appreciate what we do for ECU Sports. I think D'Lo, from what I've heard, it's not something they're super worried about as far as an injury. I think they're just trying to figure out why exactly his velo was down. But I think structurally, at least everything I've heard, it's okay. At least initially, that's what I was told. So we're waiting to see how that plays out. But his velo was down. He didn't look comfortable. So I think they're just trying to work through some things. All right, basketball. We'll talk a lot more ECU baseball this week. We'll dive in tomorrow to the week ahead and look further at some of the rest of the non-conference action, what ECU needs to continue to accomplish to move and improve its resume. ECU basketball, we'll start on the men's side. Pirates lose at Charlotte. Disappointing game. I listened to the first half on the radio driving to Durham, watched the second half in the press box before the UNC game. Pirates lose 68-56 at Charlotte. Just couldn't shoot the ball well. Finished 34.5% from the floor, 20% from three-point range, 60% from the line. Gio Imajuru missed 5 free throw attempts in the first half, and it just felt like they could never get in a rhythm. Really, the only player that kind of impressed me was Corey Calker, who ironically was coming off his injury. Now, Jordan Riley scored 20 points, but he went 5 of 17 from the floor. Calker finished with 16 on 7 of 13 shooting in 34 minutes and just could not – really, they fell behind. And, I mean, they made a charge late, Phillip, but just a disappointing loss. You get swept by your in-state rivals. Charlotte have been reeling, and now you're pretty much, barring a miracle, done as far as making the conference tournament.
Yeah, Jordan doesn't score until, the 5-minute mark of the first half. Yeah. It just felt like they were kind of running in quicksand early. Like every Mike Schwartz coach team, they didn't quit at halftime. They fought back. They cut it down to 4. But it never seemed like the thing was clicking well enough, kind of to your point, to ever really feel like you were going to win the game. I mean, obviously, when you started to make the comeback, I think your best hope was Charlotte kind of folds and goes, oh, here we go again, because they were on a losing streak. But they end up finding a way to win it. And then, like you said, with North Texas winning yesterday, now East Carolina minimum 3-1 the final 4 games, and that would not even guarantee you a conference tournament bid. You would still probably need to wish upon a star, but you're probably going to have to go 4-0 and wish upon at least a coin you throw in a fountain.
ECU 4-10 in the league, 9-18 overall. North Texas and FAU both sitting at 7 and 8. And like you mentioned, you do have the tiebreaker over both, but yeah, I mean, you're having to make up 3 games in the win column. So, I mean, realistically, you probably have to win out just to have a shot. I mean, and you've got at UTSA, which is winnable, but then you have Memphis, Tulsa, and at UAB. You're going to be pretty decided underdogs in all those games, if I had to guess. So there's your men's update. We'll continue to talk about that situation because obviously something needs to happen, and there's going to be changes this offseason, whether it be a roster turnover. We'll see what happens at the top of the program as well. All right, the women's basketball team lost a heartbreaker to Rice. I did not see any of this game. You were there, Philip. That Rice hit a go-ahead three with 14 seconds left to win their 19th in a row. And let's get your take on the game before I give my 2 cents on the result as well.
Yeah, this is a game. Look, it was a defensive slugfest. Neither team really could get any shots early to fall. Then it kind of became a back and forth second and then early third quarter. And I can tell you, man, East Carolina belonged on the court with those Rice Owls, and you could tell it in the way Rice acted when they won that game. They were celebrating like they had won a big game. There was a big hug at midcourt. And look, I just think down the stretch, East Carolina did not make the plays they needed to make. The offense got a little stagnant when they got up 6. Kim McNeil even kind of mentioned that in her post-game press conference. But the one thing I will say, man, they played with heart. They played with grit. And the look in their eyes walking off the court, I had not seen that on this team this season. I mean, they really cared. That one really hurt. And, the message in the press conference, both from Coach Kim and from Ajane, was we'll see him again. And I do not think this team wants to win a conference championship without beating Rice. I think, obviously you'll take a win at any time. At the end of the day, that's what the goal is. But they want to see Rice in that championship game. And look, it's unfortunate the offense got a little stagnant, but they fought harder for loose balls, and they did everything it took from an emotional standpoint and a hard work and an effort standpoint to win that game. It just didn't go their way.
East Carolina has not 100% solidified the number 2 seed, but they do have a 2-game lead with 3 to go. If they win 2 of the final 3, they'll guarantee it, depending on what happens with a couple teams behind them. They finish at Memphis, Charlotte home, at Tulsa. Now, that's my thing, Philip, is like, honestly, would I have loved to see them win? Yes, it would have been great. Still probably would have been tough to win the regular season title just because they would have had Rice to have to drop another game and ECU still went out. But for me, they proved they can compete against the best in this league. They didn't even play their best and had a shot to win at the end. Could have easily won. And now, if you finish with a top 2 seed, you get an automatic bye to the semifinals. You have to win 1 game to get to the conference championship game for a trip to the NCAA tournament. So I'm encouraged, and I think I'm in a great spot for the women. Like, they've set themselves up with the season they've had to make a run at this thing, and now they just got to finish here down the stretch to put themselves in that position going to the conference tournament. So obviously a tough loss, but I think overall a situation that I feel pretty confident in going to the tournament for Kim McNeil's squad.
Yeah, and I think they'll have confidence when they step on the court. They proved themselves they can hang with Rice, and we'll see what happens when they see him again, but I definitely think they'll be there.
No doubt. Let's get a break in. Final break. We'll come back. We'll talk some hockey. The U.S. national team takes down Canada in overtime to win the gold medal. And what a way to get the job done, the golden goal to win it. We'll talk about that and more to close the show. This is Hoist the Colors.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Final few minutes of the show. Appreciate everybody tuning in today. Been a fun show. We can't go the entire hour without talking some hockey. Team USA takes out Canada in overtime. First gold medal since the 1980 Olympics. And what a way to finish it. Jack Hughes with the overtime goal in the 3-on-3 format after losing his front teeth and just like the most, American thing ever, skating around with the front teeth missing, holding the American flag. Philip Pilkington rejoins us. You are much more of a hockey fan than I am, so I know you enjoyed this even more than me. Just kind of describe your emotions watching that game, watching this thing unfold.
You know, the whole time going into it, I was hoping Canada would get beat because it was all about winning the gold medal. Then when we were playing them, it's like, man, this medal wouldn't taste as good as if it wasn't against the Canadians. You know, look, I'm not trying to, take anything away from anything our gymnastics have done, anything that any of our sprinters have done, from Michael Phelps, from Lindsey Vonn. But this is the greatest American sports moment since 1980. It really is. That obviously was bigger. A bunch of college kids beating, professionals pretty much. But I don't know, man. Just the way they lost last year in the Four Nations to Canada, who really is the best hockey team in the world. Now, I even think they were the better hockey team for more of the game yesterday, but, it's all about how many pucks you put in the back of the net. And see a group of guys come together who, hate each other, 82 games a year to fight for their country. That's what America's about, coming together for the greater good. It wasn't anything selfish about it. It wasn't about the me. It was about the we. And they found a way. They found a way against the best team in the world. And, Connor Hellebuyck was – I give him the Vezina now. Why not? I know it wasn't an NHL game, but he's the greatest goalie right now in the world. So let's give him the Vezina. Who cares?
And look, as I would say, a fringe hockey fan at best, I watch the playoffs. I'm not as familiar with the Johnny Gaudreau story as like hockey fans, but seeing them skate around the ice and honor him like that, and his family in the stands like that, that was extremely powerful to witness. Like even I got a little emotional watching that. And obviously, the kids coming on post game to take the team picture and holding his jersey, like that was, as a parent, man, that's pretty incredible to watch.
That was special. He would have made that roster, no doubt about it. And there's been such great respect around the league when he passed, and now to see the team do that, I mean, that was special. They invited his wife, like you said, his kids were there, and some things are about more than sports. Some things are bigger than sports, and that was one of those moments that it was more than just the game. It was about him and his family, and what unfortunately that family lost. But and that was an emotional moment the whole day, man. It was great, and to see him out there, FaceTiming the president after the game was awesome. It reminds me of Mike Eruzione on the phone with Jimmy Carter, and Jimmy Carter inviting, the 1980 team to the White House. That was such a special moment. And then, same scenario here. So, man, it's awesome. It's what makes America great.
What a way to wrap up the Olympics. USA win it in overtime. And the women's team also getting it done early in the week over Canada as well. Just pretty
overtime,
sweet.
Baby.
Yep, pretty sweet. I guess Norway wins the official medal count, 41 gold medals.
Yeah, 41 total medals. I think I don't remember how many gold they had. I think they had
total medals, yep.
19 or 20 total. 18, okay.
Yeah. So Norway gets it done, but USA, we got it done where it mattered. And that's it was a solid Olympics, no doubt. All right, we got to get out of here. Kenny does ask, we're going to hear from the new football coaches before the spring game. Kenny, I don't know, man. I'm asking the questions. I can only do what we're allowed to do. We have not gotten access to this point. I would think we get some at some point during spring ball with the coordinators at least, but we'll see. We'll keep you updated on that front. All right, we will be back Tuesday. Talk ECU baseball, some hoops, a whole lot more, whatever else comes up. We'll see you then Tuesday, 12 noon on HTC.